back on the Good Morning Artesia radio show. Joby is back. We're going to talk a little fishing with our Pecos Valley Bassmaster segment. Good morning, Joby.
Good morning.
So did you get to go fishing?
I fished one day of our 2 one-day tournaments. I did. We were on vacation last week, my family and I, and left last Sunday morning really early and went to Texas. And we were gone all week. But we were going anyway, but our tournament lined up pretty good because it was on the way back. It was at Fort Phantom Hill. We had a Saturday tournament and a Sunday tournament. It was individual. And so we came back, family and I came back through, and I stopped in Abilene and got a house there. And so got the pre-fish Friday and then fished Saturday, and then we came home Saturday night. Got home Saturday night, not real late, but sort of late. And then, of course, yesterday was the second day tournament. And so I've got results and a lot of good pictures of those 2 days. It was good. It was Fort Phantom Hill's down quite a bit. I guess most of the Texas lakes are low. They're in the same drought we are across where we go fishing, and it was anywhere arguable between different guys, but between 5 to 10 to 15 foot down. So a lot of the water that some of our guys normally fish was out of the water. I mean, the land was up out of the water.
Yeah.
But pretty good fishing. We got some good quality fish. The quantity was not what you would hope because it was just slow, and it was really hot. It was over 100 degrees, and it got hot fast, so it was hot all day. Almost no breeze, which, it's either feast or famine, it seems like. I mean, it seems like we go fishing, the wind's blowing 7,000 miles an hour, or it's not blowing at all, and it's 100 and it's 110. And that breeze helps.
Yeah.
When it's 100 plus, but still beautiful days. We had, I don't know, I guess, is that on the screen now?
Yes,
we can go and start talking about the pictures. On 7:30, which was Saturday, we had 5 boaters. We had one of our guys, he had boat problems. So we had 6 originally scheduled, but was unable to fish on Saturday, sorry. So we ended up having 5 boaters and 5 non-boaters on Saturday. So that first screen there, for those of you watching, and I'll read it for those of you listening, David Rutherford ends up winning the day on the boater side. He had 5 fish. 1 died in the live, so he had 5 fish, 4 live. So you take a little bit of a deduction there. He had 17.1 pounds, and then so with the deduction, he ends up winning with 16.85. He wins first. Mike Hill had the same thing, had 1 dead fish, and sometimes it just can't be helped. I mean, the water's so hot. Even our boats are designed to try to keep them alive with recirculation pumps, and you can bring in fresh water, and a lot of guys even put ice in their live wells, but sometimes we lose fish, and we did this weekend. But anyway, Mike Hill won 2nd place. Kelly Whitehead came in 3rd. That's who I fished out of the back of the boat with Kelly, one of our new members this year. Mark Willever 4th, and then my dad just could not get on. He just could not catch them. He ended up not catching a legal fish on Saturday. And then our big bass, and I don't know if you can scroll down on that. I mean, it's on the picture, but we can't see it on this.
Yeah, scroll down the
I mean, I can tell you who it was. It was David Rutherford. He had a 4.2-pound big bass. We want to see the other way, but that's okay.
That's okay. We want to see the big bass at the bottom of that page there.
That's okay. I mean, I can see who, up there on the screen. So if you want to go ahead and go to the next screen.
Okay.
So that was the boaters, and then the next one will be the non-boaters.
There you go.
And we had 5 non-boaters, and Jeff Houghtaling, my brother, ended up edging me out by not much. We weighed in, and he had 10.2, and I had 10.1.
Wow.
But I had a dead fish, and that was really the costly thing for me. I had the very first fish I caught that day, and on the non-boater side, we fished a 3-fish limit instead of 5 fish. So Lex Klein fished. He had 3 and had 2 die. But Jeff wins it with 10.2 pounds. I came in 2nd with 9.85 after my deduction. Lex came in 3rd with 6.4. Catherine Martinez, that's Lex Klein, by the way. Catherine Martinez came in 4th with 5.8, and Lisa Rutherford wasn't able to catch anything. She ends up zeroing, and she comes in 5th. I got big bass. I caught a 6.7 pounder. I haven't caught one over 6 in a while, so that was a lot of fun. That's a good sized bass, and we'll see a picture here in just a minute. So I win big bass. What I was going to say is I had my first fish that I caught that morning, I didn't feel the bite. I just saw my line starting to move. I was fishing with a shaky head and a plastic, and so I set the hook. Well, he had swallowed the hook. The fish had swallowed the hook, and so when they do that, if they start bleeding, you're going to lose them quickly. Sometimes you can just cut the line off, and they'll live. And he was lively, and it was slow enough fishing. Pre-fish, we didn't catch many. I caught 2 pretty nice ones pre-fish, but just really slow. So you have the option when something like that happens. If the fish is alive, you can turn it back. But it was a keeper. It was a little over a pound. So I put in the live well. And then I catch about a 3-pounder. And then it was in the afternoon, and the fish is still good, still swimming in there. So I haven't put him back yet. But you don't want to go in with a dead fish because you get a deduction. Mm-hmm. Plus, it was a small one. It was just legal. It was a little over 14 inches. Well, I catch that 6.7-pounder. And I was fishing with Kelly Whitehead, like I said, and he was like, man, if that fish is still alive, you ought to throw it back because it's, that could end up costing you.
Yeah.
And I said, well, we're just not catching them very fast. We were catching one about every hour or so, or every hour and a half. And so I kept monitoring it when I had that 6, because I had 3. I was at a limit, and it was still alive. About the 5th or 6th time I looked in there, he was dead. He just died really fast. I mean, he looked good, and then he died. And now you can't cull a dead fish. So here I have a big fish, and then I've got another pretty good one, 3-pounder. It's going to be difficult to cull one of them.
Yeah.
I've got to keep the 1-pounder.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that really cost me. I ended up catching another 2-pounder and another 3-pounder that was not quite heavy enough to cull my 3-pounder. And I mean, if didn't have that dead one, I would have beat Jeff.
Yeah, you're sitting there trying to think of every reason why you didn't win.
Yeah, well, I mean, I knew that dead fish was going to hurt me, and it did, and that's the thing. They come back and bite you. But okay, if you want to, Jeff, you want to switch
slideshow time, folks.
Yeah, we'll go through the pictures. So that's Jeff. He had a 5-pounder on day 1, and he had his 3-fish limit, and he ends up winning the non-boaters. Mm-hmm. So you go ahead.
All right, that's a nice looking picture there.
Yeah. Yep, that's my brother Jeff, and he was fishing with my dad. That's Mike Hill. We kind of can see him. He's on
you want to drop our pictures there, Jeffrey, and we'll just see the picture of the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, so Mike ends up
there you go. Hey, there you go.
With 4 fish. I think he ended up with 5, but maybe he just had 4. Anyway, that's Mike Hill. He was a boater.
Mm-hmm. All right, next picture.
That's me, and there's that 6.7-pounder, and that's a 3-pounder beside it.
Those are big fish there.
You can see the difference between that 3-pounder looked big until I caught that 6.7-pounder.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. So that was 2 of my 3. My dead one I didn't try to hold. You can go ahead and do the next picture. That's Lex Klein, a couple of his fish, and he ended up with 3 keepers as a non-boater.
Okay.
Next slide. Next picture. Mark Willover, he ended up catching a limit. They were just all right under 2 pounds. He was under 10 pounds, but a nice limit for Mark.
5 nice looking fish there.
Yep.
All right, next.
Catherine Martinez, one of the non-boaters. She had 2 fish, and both of them nice. That one on her in her left hand there was a 4-pounder.
I was going to say that's pretty.
And the other one
size.
Probably 3 or 2 and 2, close to 3. So good job by Catherine, non-boater.
Yep. All right.
Next picture. And that's the guy I was fishing with, Kelly Whitehead. He's a new angler this year with us, and he was the boater and I was the non-boater, and that's a couple of his. He had 4 fish. He couldn't catch that 5th one. He was obviously trying hard, but just never did get one in the boat.
Yeah.
But a good day for Kelly. Okay, this is day 2, and the official weight.
Yesterday.
This was yesterday, and we lost it. It went away. Okay, there it is.
Yep.
So we ended up having 5 boaters again. And Kelly Whitehead, the guy I fished with the day before, ends up having a 17-pound bag. Great day, and he won big bass as well with a 7.2-pounder.
Wow.
And so he even caught a bigger one than I did. I'm excited for him. He's a really good guy and a great fisherman. But he ended up catching 5 and won the day. Mike Hill got second again. He had just under 11 pounds. Mark Willover third again with 7.45. My dad did catch a keeper, finally. Jerry Houghtaling come in fourth with a 1.7 pounder. And then David was a reversal of fortune. Tell of 2 days, right? Tell of 2 cities. He ends up with 17 on day 1 and wins it. Day 2 doesn't catch a keeper. So
wow.
He kind of rounds it out there. But Kelly with the big bass as well. So he cleaned house on Sunday, wins the tournament and the big bass. So you can go to the
You got
next
some
slide.
pictures, I bet.
Well, we got the non-boaters results.
Oh, the non-boaters. You're right, you're right.
Lee Johnson, his boat he couldn't fish Saturday. His boat had an issue during pre-fish, and he was trying to get it fixed, but they just never got it fixed. So Jeff and I were both leaving, and we were both non-boaters. So he ended up being a non-boater on day 2, and he fished with Kelly, who I'd fished with on day 1. But day 2 only had 2 of our non-boaters catch fish. Lisa Rutherford ends up winning it. So a tale of two cities, right? She didn't catch fish on Saturday, fishing with her husband David. David wins the boater side on Saturday, and then she catches a couple on Sunday and wins the non-boater side with 4.4 pounds. Lex Klein came in second. He also had 2 fish and the big bass for the non-boaters, a 2.4 pounder. So Lex finishes second and big bass on day 2. And then Catherine doesn't catch fish, and Lee didn't find them either. So they round out the 4 there on Sunday.
All right.
And then we do have some pictures.
Now we have pictures. And Lee's not going to be in the pictures.
Lee's
right?
not going to be in the pictures because he didn't have a keeper. He's kind of like my dad on
Saturday.
On day 1, yeah. So this is Kelly Whitehead, and that's his big bass. And so that was 7.2. Is that what it was? So nice bass. He wins big bass for the day.
That's a nice picture.
It is. So the next picture, and that's went too fast. So that's Kelly with his 4 of his. No, he's got all 5 of them. He's got 2 there in his left hand. But you see that 7-pounder. I mean, you can just compare it to those others, and it's just a big fish. Those 2 that David Rutherford's holding 2 of his fish for him. David's on the right, Kelly's on the left. And you can just see those when you get up in that 6, 7, 8, 9. They're just so big. They make what normally looks like big fish, because the 2 David are holding are probably over 3 each. But that's Kelly Whitehead with the winning bag on Sunday for the boaters.
Did he share what he was doing to catch that?
I texted him last night to tell him a couple things, but it was kind of late, and he hadn't responded yet. I asked him, "Did you do the same thing you and I did on Saturday?" And I hadn't heard back from him. He may have been on a call. That guy's busy. He's his job keeps him busy. That's Lisa Rutherford with her big bass. I guess she had 2, and she ends up winning the non-boaters on day 2. So congratulations to Lisa. Next picture. That's Mike Hill again. David Rutherford again on the right side as you're looking at the screen on Mike's left. But Mike come in second both days. And that's 4 of his. I think he may have only caught 4 on day 2, but in any case, some nice fish there from Mike Hill.
Okay.
Next picture. And then that's Mark Willover on the right. David again holding a couple of his for him on the left. And Mark, I think day 2 he might have only had 4, but in any case, he ended up finishing 3rd, I think, on day 2 of the tournament. So Mark, congratulations to him. Good bag. Mark is super consistent. He catches them wherever we go.
And
next, I think there's another picture or 2.
Let's see if there's another picture there. There's one.
Lex Klein, his 2 keepers on Sunday as a non-boater.
Nice hat, too.
Next slide, yeah. He's keeping that sun off of him. And there's my dad, Jerry Houghtaling, his one keeper on Sunday. So he was I didn't fish with him. Jeff fished with him on Saturday, my brother, and I fished with Kelly. And he didn't catch a keeper, and Jeff won the non-boater side.
Yeah.
And so he just couldn't find them, couldn't get them to bite what he was throwing, but he did catch a keeper on Sunday. Now, that may be the last picture. We'll see. Was there another one, Jeff? Nope, that was it. So that was our pictures, and I've got to get our website all updated. I haven't done that in so I think I got 2 tournaments. Well, it would be 4 tournaments worth of information to put on our website, but I'm going to try to get that done this week for those that are interested in going and seeing where our standings are, and I'll hopefully have that done. And so next Monday I'll bring that, and we can kind of talk about our standings year in. We've got 4 more tournaments before our championship. We're going to be at Hubbard Creek in 2 weeks. That's in Breckenridge, Texas, for 2 one-day tournaments. It's individual tournaments. And then 2 weeks after that, which is, I think, the last weekend in August maybe, we're going to be at Brantley again. We got 2 one-day team tournaments, and that rounds out our season. And then we'll talk about our championship. And Jeff and I coming back, we were talking about the championship, and he said, "Where do you think we're going to have it?" We usually vote. I usually take a look at the top 3 producing lakes for the year, and then I'll put it out to the membership, and we'll vote our rules state we take the top 10 boaters and the top 10 non-boaters, and so we will. He and I both kind of concurred. I said, we ought to fish Brantley, even though it's small. It has really produced for us this year, and part of it will be our members may not want. Some of them may not want to do that, and it'll be decided by the vote. But I think Brantley's going to be on the list because it's really produced. That's one pro to it. The second pro is it's right here, and I think we could probably field a full 10 boaters and 10 non-boaters if we don't travel. Some of these anglers, they have a harder time, getting out of town for 3 or 4 days.
Right.
But if they just go to the lake Saturday morning and then go to the lake Sunday morning, and they don't have to travel, they don't have to get motel room, it'd save a lot of money.
Sure.
For sure. And it's been fishing really good. So those are all pros of fishing Brantley. The cons are you're probably not going to have as much opportunity to catch those 6.7 and 7 pounders as you would some of these other lakes. So that's a con, and the other one, it is small.
Yeah.
And then the other one is the water level. It depends on where that's at. It could be empty. We may not even be able to have it as an option because they'll be rounding out the year-end irrigation and all that in August, and it may be so low that we couldn't fish it. But in any case, Brantley has, I think, been our best producer this year.
Wow.
In numbers and in weights.
Driving back from Carlsbad yesterday, I noticed that the irrigation ditches in Carlsbad are empty.
Yeah.
So maybe there'll be an opportunity if we get any rain here or upstream.
I'm hoping some of that from Ruidoso. They got really flooded. I saw this last week while I was away, and I know we got a little rain here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that obviously we need rain, period. But from an angler's perspective, I'd love for Brantley to be full because it's just really fished well for us all year. But when it gets so low, and then you factor in that it's small anyways, when it gets low, it's even obviously it condenses it. But we'll see how it works out. Breckenridge is up next. That's a Hubbard Creek, big lake. It's low too, but it always produces a lot of fish. And we, some of the tournaments we've had there have been both quantity and quality, and those are really fun when you're catching a lot of fish and they're big.
Yeah,
it just doesn't get any better than that. And we hit that lake one time where that was really truly the case. Everybody caught a lot of fish, and we had big bags of fish. And so hoping for that at Hubbard Creek. And then, like I said, we'll round out the season with a couple of team tournaments at Brantley before we go to our championship.
When the fish are that big, because you had a big fish that you caught, are they just as feisty as the smaller ones? When
they're it depends on what you mean by feisty. My big bass did not jump, but it felt like I was dragging in a log, literally. 2 times prior to that during the day, I set the hook. I felt like I got a bite, and I set the hook, and I was bringing in, and I told Kelly, it's a big one, get the net. And so he was up there waiting, and the first time I'm pulling and it's not jumping, and that's always makes you question because bass are known to come to the top and try to spit the hook, and it was a big tree limb, big one. I was pulling in a big tree limb.
literally a
big tree limb. Yeah, it felt like I was pulling in a big fish. And about 2 hours later, we're fishing, we're talking, and I feel like I got a bite. I set the hook, same thing. It's heavy. I'm reeling. It's not coming to the top, and I'm thinking, well,
Did you get another tree limb?
I got another big tree limb, totally different place. Hour or so later, I set the hook. I feel like I get a bite. Actually, I'm those 2 times I was fishing with a shaky head, so one hook and bouncing off the bottom. I start fishing with what's called a chatterbait.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go. Anyway, I set the hook, and it feels the same thing. It was that 6.7 pounder.
It was a fish this time.
And it fought.
Joby, thank you so much.